we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan. His heart don't pump no Kool-Aid Sadiq. He's got a funky, fresh Kango on.
Yes. I dropped the top button. I was so mad.
Oh, you dropped? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we would have never known that.
Right.
And so anyway, it is the Demetra K Show on this beautiful Sunday. Do you know that Thursday, you guys, listen, we are in Southern California. On Thanksgiving, it is going to be 49 degrees.
Here?
Yes.
Right on.
And it's going to be raining. 49 degrees in Southern California. I'm going to need to borrow that coat on Thursday. But anyway, hello to YouTube. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. And I'm welcome. And we welcome your conversation as well in the comments. Also, all of you guys on the podcast, there's way too many to name. So whatever podcast you're listening to, we thank you so much. And I'm welcome your conversation. One day we're going to figure out how to actually read the comments. And so, as always, hello to you on Facebook, the Ride or Die audience, the OG, the triple OG audience, who's been doing this with us since it's been over 3 years that the Demetra K Show has been up and running. And so, thank you, because we could not do this show without you and your very insightful conversation. And so, I'll go ahead and get started. I believe there's enough of us on here. So, as always, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all the things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. I'd also like to say a big, huge thank you to Donovan Sadiq for doing everything he does. So, you guys on Facebook see the green screen. That means that we are going to be, well, not me, I said we. Donovan is going to be producing the show and actually putting it on YouTube for the YouTube audience. And so also a big, huge thank you to Marcus Guyton for all that he does, which reminds me, if you're watching this show in the watch parties, please come on this side meaning my page, to comment, because I can't see the comments in the watch party for whatever reason. So I will address every last one of your comments, I promise. And so,
before you start,
yes,
real quick, you guys, whenever you guys see a logo behind us, let's say you might say Twitter, it might be Facebook, it might be YouTube, that's a subliminal message that's where some of our shows are located. So if you ever have a question like, well, Tumblr or whatever, you see that logo, that's where you can find the show.
All right. That went over my head, but okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I will go ahead and get started. Right. So the topic is, what is our 10-year economic challenge going to look like? And what are we going to tell our grandchildren about Black people? So there has been a few challenges floating around social media that many have participated in. Have you? Yes, I've seen your 10-year challenges.
Oh, yes. When I look like Denzel.
Yeah, and
I turned into Ike Turner, yeah. And Scatman Crothers.
Right. Anyway. Okay, so one of them is the 10-year challenge, where people post photos of them from 2009 and 2019. I guess the premise of the challenge is to see how one has changed over the years. Now, the other one is not necessarily a challenge, but from what I understand, I'm going to tell my grandkids, in quotations, game was to challenge the statement that was made about the casting of Julia Roberts in the Harriet Tubman movie. Did you guys hear about that?
Crazy.
So anyway, an unnamed Hollywood executive said that Julia Roberts should be casted as Harriet Tubman because it was so long ago, no one would even remember that Harriet Tubman was Black. That's a whole other conversation we could get into after I do this thing here. It's mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling.
So, with that being said, people have been posting all sorts of erroneous photos and memes stating that they're going to tell their grandchildren that what is being shown was the truth. So, for example, I saw a meme where someone posted a picture of a Black man and said they were going to tell their grandchildren that it was really George Washington. So, there's been a whole bunch of that stuff going on. I hope that makes sense.
Sad.
Okay, so all of that got me to thinking about something deeper. I thought, what are we really going to tell our grandchildren about Black people of the past in the future? Like, really think of some of the things that we as Black people are doing right now. Are we going to be proud to tell them the certain things that are going on now as we are rocking back and forth in our rocking chair? Will we beam with pride when we tell them that Black men and Black women disrespected each other on a regular basis? And the reason we are broke as a people is because we failed to practice group economics. Like, are we going to be proud to tell people those things? Now, back to the 10-year challenge. Did you all know that in less than 13 years from now, that it is projected that black people will have a net, the average wealth of black households will be a big fat zero. If we did a black economic 10-year challenge in 2029, we would hold up two numbers. One would say that in 2019, the average black wealth was $15,000, right? That's average per household. Mm-hmm. And in 2029, it will probably say that it's around 1,000, if I had to guess, because I'm not a mathematician at all. Right? Now, we need to do something now to change the trajectory of what has been projected to come. What do we need to do? Well, for one, we need to educate ourselves about the condition we're in and why we are in that condition. The easiest way to do that is to start with those the closest to us, like our friends and our family. Included in that educational plan, if you will, we need to teach each other self-love and knowledge of self, among a whole host of other things. Secondly, we need to start recycling black dollars within our black communities. As we often mention, black people give about 97% of our annual earned income away to the tune of about $1.3 trillion to other communities. Dr. Claude Anderson has repeatedly told us that if were to properly practice group economics, we could own and control our own businesses, have a big say-so on politics, the courts and police, education, and the media. But we cannot do those things as long as we're giving that kind of money away. Again, 97% of everything we have. As I told someone earlier, it'd be like baking a pie for your family. Everybody's starving, waiting for you to get done baking the pie. And, everybody's just, wanting to eat. And then you slice about 3% of that pie and you put it on the table for your family. And then you throw the rest of the pie out the window.
Right.
That's kind of what we're doing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and so thirdly, we need to be more careful as to who we vote for. Okay, let me repeat that. We need to be more careful as to who we as black people vote for. Now, we need to stop allowing political parties to have our votes for absolutely nothing in return. Okay, Malcolm X said, the Democrats have been playing you for political chumps, and if we vote for them, not only are you a chump, you are a traitor to your race. He also said that the difference between white liberals and white conservatives is that liberals are more deceitful and more hypocritical.
Yes.
Both want power. The white liberal is the one who perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. Mm-hmm. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football. Basically, not one of them give a damn about black people, right? It is often said that we as black people should form our own political party and go after the things that are of interest to us. Now, if we just started with those things first, I think, I could be wrong, but I think we could change our fate, right? So again, what is our 10-year economic challenge going to look like, and what are we going to tell our grandchildren about black people in the future? Let's talk. Let me get to you guys' comments. Thank you so much for waiting for me to finish that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, especially you ladies out there. How are you going to explain that picture of you in your bra and panties to your grandkids?
I'm going to tell them that's how nuns dressed. Hey, Sonia, what's happening? You says, finally. I caught the show. I've been missing it for a while. Yes, we have not seen you, but we are so happy that you are here. And hello to everybody who is on here. And Al says, nice do. And Toni Braxton will be performing a few of her hits tonight at the AMAs. Al is our local entertainment Hollywood roving reporter.
Al, between me and you,
producer.
Between me and Al, we love Toni Braxton. But like I said, ever since she started hooking up with that Birdman, I have to question her mental stability.
Yes, and he says at the AMAs Awards, I guess, at the LA Microsoft Theater. So you and Donovan's bleeding nose seats are ready. So basically, we're going to be having. And let's see.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Play by TF card.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's the call-in number?
Bluetooth
Oh, we're going to do a
mode.
call-in. I guess if you guys want to...
I'm getting it. Hold on.
Oh,
Give me a
he's
second.
trying to get it up and running, so we might take some call-ins. And hey, Tunkunde, I hope I said that right. And Al says, did Minister Farrakhan say that if black people continue to have kids with white people, that will wipe black people off the earth and make white people no longer the majority but minority? Well, he said it, and it's just a fact. The more you mix races, it will brown the planet, if you will. So yes, that's a known fact. And so I don't see any more comments on here. But as I said, I've seen a lot of challenges, and a lot of it is all in fun, if you will. I get a kick out of it. I personally don't participate in those things much, if not ever. But I was struggling with something to come up with, and I was talking to Al. He's giving me a whole bunch of comments. Hey, Amanda, a whole bunch of things to talk about. And it was actually Al that came up with the Malcolm X analogy of us being chumps. And so that actually comes from, if I'm not mistaken, the ballot or the bullet, where he gave the speech admonishing black people to stop being so trusting of the Democrats, or political people in general, but definitely the Democrats, because he says they're worse than the conservative or the Republican. And so Amandi said, did you get a haircut? I did. It's not actually as short as it looks. I just washed it and smashed it down. I just wanted to kind of trim off the dead hair, and you know me, Amanda. I'm gonna grow it back. And Sonia says, that was a mouthful, Demetria. Where do we start? Yeah, but like I said, I think if we just start with educating ourselves, for ourselves and the people we know. So who are the people we know? We know friends, we know family. A lot of us have kids, and I'm not saying you guys, but a lot of us have kids that don't even know what there is to know. A lot of people have kids don't even know who Malcolm X was, or to me is, because I still draw a lot of wisdom from his teachings. Donovan is trying to get the speaker up and running so you guys can call in, but a lot of people don't educate their kids on Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King. Well, a lot of people know about Martin Luther King, but they only know that I have a dream.
Because every white politician quotes.
Right, I have a dream. And a lot of people, don't even know what the I have a dream speech was about. Some people just recite.
It was basically, I have a nightmare.
Right, but it was really about inclusion, that everybody would be viewed as the same. So it was the diversity and inclusion is what it was. That's what the I have a dream, like, he said one day my kids will be able to play with everybody else type of thing. And so most people don't even really know what that means. And so let's see here. Loria, what's happening? Long time no see. You said politics were way different then, plus the Republicans were different then as well. And no one cares about black folks. So then what? We need to, of course, start our own network and our own political ways and vibes, I think you say, or views. D, you can start it up. You will be a wonderful leader, so I'll follow you, my girl. You know what? I don't know if I would ever consider myself a leader, especially in today's time, because there's a lot of people and I thank you for that compliment, but there's a lot of people who are calling themselves leaders, and they're not really doing that. All they're doing is wanting to get money, if you will. I'm not saying that getting money is bad, but they're not giving the game away, if you will. They're selling the game. And I think about a lot of people, back in the day, like your Marcus Garvey's, your Malcolm X, and people like that. They weren't selling the game; they were giving it to people. Leadership, and especially in our community, are now turned into a hustle, if you will. And so, I don't know if I want to. Not that I would do those things, but I don't know if I really want to consider myself to be a leader. I'm just doing the work, if you will. But so you say, I want to address your other point as far as political parties weren't the same back then. Are you saying that they were worse, or are they better now? If you can answer that, Loria. And Sonia says, group economics is very important, but do you think that's the only answer to our economic woes? It's not the only answer, because we know that systemic and institutional racism plays a huge part in that. But if we were starting to practice group economics like everyone else does, we'd have a lot more power and people would take us more seriously, as Dr. Claude Anderson always talks about, we would be able to buy into the police department, the court system. We'd have our own schools via, the educational system, and we can own and control the media. As he always talks about, we own less than 3% of the media, and so us practicing group economics will ensure that we keep most of that $1.3 trillion in our community, and we can have, because let's just face it, where there's money, there's power. We could do all the talking we want and raise our black power fist, but if ain't no green dollars in that fist, it's just a fist, right? So, hey, Pamela, what's happening? And Loria says, laugh out loud, you are D, you are a leader, you always have been, you know it, I know you for a long time. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I guess I don't know. Like I said, I just do the work. You know what I mean? And I don't always talk about a lot of stuff that I do, because I see people, like, especially with the exception of social media, you have a lot of people who are always talking about this, that, and the other. But I'm always kind of one of those people like, well, what are you doing? Are you actually doing the work? And so I'm just one of those people who like to do the work, and using this platform as a way for me to do the work. I am just gifted with the gift of communication, and I'm a thinker and all of that. So I am using it to help my people, because ultimately that helps us, right? But I thank you for that. So most definitely, and let's go back to the voting thing, because I don't see any more of you guys' comments. Let's go back to the voting thing. I said that was my third. I think that was my third thing. As far as if we are more careful as to who we are voting for, then we would also be a lot better off, because let's face it, black people have been voting Democrat. And I know, Loria, it's a sore point with a lot of people, because I hear the term a lot, vote blue no matter who. But I think we really need to think deeply about that. Are we seriously wanting to vote blue no matter who? What if that who is actually worse or just as bad as Trump? Because you think about it, since the 60s, at least, black people have been voting Democrat since the 30s.
Democrat.
But even let's just take since then, we've been voting blue no matter who. And what have we gotten for doing that, right?
Mass incarceration, written by a Democrat.
We
got, go to Haiti. Hillary Clinton's a Democrat, took advantage of the people over. You can go on and on and on.
And not to mention the current condition that we're in via civil rights. Before civil rights, black people were upwardly mobile. We had our own thing. We were doing our own thing. We were economically independent, if you will. And in the minute that the floodgates open to go be with white people, our stuff's completely dilapidated, and we've been struggling since. And this was done under the Democrat rule.
And you still see it going on today. And a good example, Elijah Cummings was in that district in Baltimore. Neighborhood is a wreck. Now the woman who sleeps with him thinks that she's entitled to the seat. Is she qualified? Yes, in circumstances. But don't you think it looks bad that your husband had the seat, now you want the seat?
Right.
No, go run for something else.
Right. And hey, Cedric, it says Indigenous People Act. Can you explain that a little more? Indigenous People Act. And the lawyer says, we love you, Demetra K. You don't have to explain. Well, I love you all too. And then Cedric says, Aborigine, Indigenous, dark skin, copper skin, Aborigine, Indigenous Tribes of America / Turtle Island. Okay, expound upon that. What are you trying to tell us? And Dee says, hey, my two favorite people, what up?
Yes.
And Sonia says, we don't have the capital. This is why reparations is vitally important. Nothing else will truly change the economic trajectory of our people. No amount of group economics will change that. And so I do agree with that to an extent.
Yes,
we
have the capital. $1.3 trillion.
We have the money, and it said that the money that we see a year as black people will make up the 11th largest country in the world. So we definitely have the money. But yes, we do need that injection of reparations. That's going to close the wealth gap, right? Because it said it's going to take us 232 years to catch up with the wealth of white people at the rate we're going. So yes, we do need that reparations. I will never ever dispute that. But until we are waiting on reparations to be passed, and I hate to say this, but if ever we have to figure out a way how to bring ourselves out a little bit, because this is the other argument that a lot of people who are for and I guess against reparation has, is that once we get this money, we're still just going to give it away because we are still conditioned to be consumers and not producers. So can you imagine, because it's stated that we should get about 18 trillion dollars is what they actually owe us, if not more. So that's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So imagine if that goes into the hands of most.
Wait, did you say trillion?
Trillion.
17 trillion.
Yes.
What they owe us.
Yes.
No. You're lowballing, sister.
Is that low?
That's very low.
Okay, so
no.
It's in the trillions.
It's in the gazillions.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, in general. Mm-hmm.
In general. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money. And at the rate we're going, we're still giving money away. Like, what's coming up Friday?
Black Friday.
Black Friday. That means we're going to take our black asses out there.
And you're going to see all the videos of people fighting and acting a fool.
And we're going to give our money away. And it is, if you look at the data, black people spend more money in damn near everything. Yeah. Including on Black Friday.
That's right, because I'm getting that tax refund in February, March.
And I'm going to pay these credits. Shit.
You guys, real quick, let me take a break for you. I think I got it working. The number is...
Here, let me put it up there. Let me see if I can put it up there.
Yeah, it's going to be 951...
Okay, call in. Y'all can call
yes.
in.
951.
Hold on. Okay, 951.
575. 6875.
6875. 6875.
We're going to give this a try, you guys. Just ask your question and then kind of keep it short. Because if we go into the soliloquy, it's going to make the show go extremely long. And I know y'all got to get y'all chicken. Some of y'all got to watch the game. Some of y'all got to take your medicine and stuff. Get ready for work tomorrow. So
you know what? You're stupid. Okay, so
let's give it a try.
Let me see here. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to these comments. Okay.
Al, call in and see if this thing works.
And Loria says, do it now until we get our own. D, we have to do something. Can't do nothing. I understand that something needs to be done. I do. I've voted ever since I was 18. To be honest.
Where's it gotten you?
So I understand something needs to be done. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but at what cost, Lori? At what point are we going to just finally decide that if we're going to vote blue no matter who, whoever that is going to have to do something, meet black people's agenda. No longer are they going to get our vote just because they know we're going to vote blue no matter who, and let's see, and Dee says, please me in, and he says, what's the topic of discussion? So it's basically, what is our black economic plan going to look like, the challenge in 10 years? And what are we going to tell our grandchildren about black people in the future? What are we going to say? And Cedric, he says, the focus for 2020 should be our focus on the true national identity as Aborigine. I'm probably jacking.
Aboriginal.
It doesn't say Aborigine.
I'm sorry. Aborigine.
Indigenous, dark skin, copper skin, indigenous rights of our Aborigine, indigenous homeland as Aboriginal Moroccan, the original natives. Okay, let me ask you this, Cedric, and please don't take this as me being facetious. Maybe I'm just a little ignorant. And I'm a lie. Is she saying something crazy about me?
No. She's talking to me.
This is my ignorance, so excuse me. But I just want to know, why? Why is that important? I'm not saying it's not, because I don't know exactly what you're getting at. But why is that important to us on the larger scheme of things? I'll wait for you to answer before I continue on. I'm just trying to figure out what we're supposed to do with that, if you will. And Loria says, definitely can't vote Republican. Forget that. Have you all been following all what the Republicans have been doing as of late? Let's talk about what's going on, like 2019. Well, no, we know what the Republicans are doing, but are they doing anything differently than the Democrats are doing? What are the Democrats doing that's helping black people that the Republicans aren't doing?
Okay, first of all, here's the problem. And you guys keep falling into this trap. There is no Republican. There is no Democrat. These are the same people. It's one party in this country. It's called the ruling party. They get their money from the same donors, the same thing. We got a call. Let's check it out.
3
Next
2
caller.
4 1.
If I could get it to answer.
Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, this is Demetra K. Show. Who are we speaking to? Can you guys hear?
Yes. I'm sorry, I must have got the wrong number. I was trying to order a pizza. But while I'm on it, I want to dedicate a song from Joe. It's called Impossible to Demetra. This is Al. Hope you have a good day.
Yes!
I can't stand it. Somebody want to order a damn... Al, see, you started this mess. You started this mess. Somebody want to order a doggone pizza.
It works. So.
Did y'all hear that? So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Sonia says having the buying power to be consumers is different than having economic power. Absolutely. So if we have most of the money, if we keep most of the money, we can have economic power. We can buy in like everybody else buys in.
Good example. The ambassador of the EU. How did he become the ambassador? The guy's totally unqualified to be in the political realm. He gave $1 million to Donald Trump, and now he's embroiled in all this BS that's going on.
Yeah, and then to that point, you think about lobbyists. What do lobbyists do? Lobbyists give money to have their agenda met or worked on or passed or whatever it is. And so you think about a lobbyist in terms of races of people. Asians are lobbyists.
Yes.
Hispanics are lobbyists. Gay people are lobbyists. Everybody else are lobbyists because, for one, they do practice group economics and they are dead serious. I don't know if you guys have been following, but the last Democrat debate, Andrew Yang was pretty much shut out of the debate.
Again.
And so his people are asking for a boycott of NBC because they're like, this is the third time that they've just shunned Andrew Yang, and they have.
They said he got 3 minutes of talking time.
Yeah, because even when I was watching, I was like, are they going to let him speak? I don't even think he spoke until like 45 minutes into the damn thing.
Yeah, he said about 30 minutes
So
into
his people are like, okay, we need to shut NBC down. Not his people and people who are, supporters, but that's power right there. You know what I mean? Whether they're going to be successful, I don't know. But anyway... Peter, what's happening? He says we need to use that $1.3 trillion to establish our own banks, lending institutions, and real estate home ownership. Absolutely. Instead of giving most of that away. Because when we give that away, what are the other people doing?
Right.
They're establishing banks and real estate and all that other stuff. They're doing that very, most communities live and breathe off of black people.
Yeah.
And our money.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because in San Bernardino, there's this little credit union. It's been there since the 1950s. Now, you know how credit unions gobble each other up and they merge?
Right.
This little credit union, a credit union is a group, like it could be a credit union of nurses, credit union of teachers, military,
They're
whatever.
all owners.
Yeah, you're all, thing like that. So this little community bank, I happened to go there and I just said, hey, what's going on here? And they were like, well, basically it's a conglomerate of the neighborhood, of people that live in that zip code.
Right.
And they've managed to be successful and fend off buying because they don't want to be incorporated into the bigger scheme of whatever these other banks trying to do. So we can have our own banks and maintain those banks if we don't have people that are going to, or leaders in the banking system that are going to sell us out and say, oh, this is a better way to go.
Or if we would say, maybe I'll take my chance on having, I wouldn't even say a chance, but let me put my money in a black bank.
Right.
I got to have it in Chase because, Chase has been around for a long time.
Yeah, and they help, and they also helped you lose your home. And because they were
going to give you no loan.
Right, because they were part of the banking crisis of 2007, so they helped crash the economy and.
And Al says, so if black people are consumers, why is the song called White Christmas? Because of snow, funny guy. And then let's see. Okay, so everybody put the number up. Thank you. And Al says, if the callers are long-winded, hang up on their ass. You know what?
Right.
That's rude. And Cedric says,
I'll take care of that.
Yeah, right. And, no, wait, you need that phone that...
Yeah.
And Cedric says, we are the heirs of the estate of Americone.
Okay.
Empire, as Moorish Americans. You say Al Americone, Moors of the Moabite Empire. Ooh, you tested my reading skills. 1774, we lost our national identity as Moors in Philadelphia. And then you put up a code. Fellow Convention, Philadelphia, 1774. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to figure out what are we supposed to do with that? You know, we can't even get black people to grasp, like, shop with each other, let alone try to get that. And
we can't even get black people to live with each other, not much less shop.
And I'm fairly educated to a small degree, and all that you said, I mean, I'm familiar with the Moors and all of that. Yeah. But all that you said went...
Yep, over a lot of people's heads.
I'm like, who? And maybe it's just my ignorance from not knowing. And then Gloria says, finish reading it. Reading what? Did I skip over something? I'm sorry if I did. And if you guys are in the watch parties, please come on this side to comment so I can read your comments. And you also said that the military-industrial complex came into establishment in 1775, Army, Navy, Marine Corps. Oh, Donovan, you hearing this? Then came their Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. So,
okay, I'm going to have to address that.
Okay.
The military-industrial complex did not come into existence in 1776 because we did not have a standing permanent army. We were citizen soldiers that came up. Actually, the military-industrial complex came into existence after World War II, when we found that now that we're going to be a police state of the world, we're going to be the policemen of the world, we needed a standing military that kind of was on a constant basis and of large numbers. And basically, the industrial military complex is a combination of industry, politics, and the military mixed together to form an agenda.
Sounds legit to me. And Sonia says reparations will not be handed out on the corner to Pookie and Ray Ray. It will come with stipulations and guidelines over an extended period of time. Also, it's kind of insulting to think that we should... Let's see. Some kind of insulting... I'm trying to find your comment. Sorry. And to think that we shouldn't get reparations because of the possibility of certain people mishandling. I don't recall anyone saying to the Jews, Native Americans, and the Japanese that they shouldn't receive money because of the possibility of mishandling what's owed to them. No, and I personally don't think that either. Mm-hmm. I personally think, what's mine is mine. And to your other point, there's whoever this people are. Because, honestly, Sonia, you've probably seen it too. There's a lot of fighting. Infighting, or outfighting, I don't know, with the ADOS community, and then the foundational Black Americans, and I guess it's just like who gives a rat's ass?
And that's what kills me. Let's stay together and get the money first.
Right, but
then fight.
Right, but to that point, Sonia, and I'm asking you because, like I said, I know you've probably seen it. So are those people supposed to be in charge of handing out the money or distributing or figuring out what to do? Because if they are, I'm good. Because they can't even decide whether they want to get along or not.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm supposed to be like, well, I'm going to let them, orchestrate the money. And then, it's just like... But to your other point, yeah, nobody else, they don't do that to other groups and say, well, you guys are going to trick off the money. But just to play devil's advocate... Traditionally and statistically speaking, they don't trick off the kind of money we do. Right. I probably should find a better word than trick. Mm-hmm. And then Laurie says, I love him, Andrew Yang. Yes, I like Andrew Yang as well. As we talk about it here a lot, Andrew Yang is offering the universal basic income.
He's the only one offering something if you give him your vote.
And it's not even just the money. It's a whole host of things. And it is Andrew Yang who is trying to put black people on game about our economic situation. In 2032. We're going to have a net worth of zero as black on average. And so he's putting those statistics out there trying to wake people up. And so I would gladly take $1,000 to help my situation until further notice.
Right. And then when those 13 years are up and we are in the damn shithole, which most of us are heading that direction, what's going to be your excuse then?
Right. I agree. And then Cedric could say, because my true identity is my something I can't read. Aborigine, renamed the Cherokee Nation, $5 European, Caucasian, Stiller, Indian, all somebody. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Just Anuaya, tribe of Alabama. We are prisoners of war, still under foreign European Caucasian settlers' occupation since 1492. And it wasn't a happy Thanksgiving. It was a genocidal operation up until the Emancipation Proclamation, 1865, Civil Rights Bill of 1866. Check out the Byron Allen Comcast lawsuit. Yes, we're very familiar with that. But and I hear what you're saying. Those are things that we should know, historically speaking. But that's, I mean, like I said, we're like black people having a hard time wrapping our heads, not to be insulting, around a lot of just things that we shouldn't be. And so to have to dig into all of that, like I'm trying to ask you, what does that mean to, in the larger scheme of things, is claiming those things going to help us do something? I mean, I'm trying to figure out what all of that actually means. You know what I mean? And Al says, Donovan, yesterday was a very special and personal day for me, and your co-host instilled black positivity in me, but I still say I was born in the wrong family. He's crazy.
Yes, yeah.
So we don't get to choose our family, okay? They chose our black asses. And Cedric, he says, Aborigine indigenous people, the heirs of their ancestral Al-Moroccan state, labeled niggers, Negro, colored, black, African American. We are the original Native Americans. All else, or are illegal immigrants, stolen land and stolen wealth of our dark-skinned copper origin. Okay, I'm still trying to ask you, like...
Yeah, you're not answering the question.
Yeah, what is that supposed to do for us? Because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Donovan is pretty intelligent. He has like I said, one of these days, I'm going to take this in there. I'm going to show you his wall of degrees. This dude has 11 degrees and working on another one. Oh, sucker. Working on another one.
Yeah.
I got 2. So the point that I'm making is I'm trying to figure out what you're saying as far as like what is that supposed to do for black people? Like I said, most black people don't even know who the hell Malcolm X was. Right. You know, or Marcus Garvey or any of the some of the like in recent history, if you will.
Right. Having that knowledge, which is great to have that knowledge. Yes. I have the knowledge. Do you have some of that knowledge? What is that going to do to help us today? Right. It's not.
And then you also say the Minutemen. And then let's see here. What else do we have? He says also reclaim your true birthright identity. Yeah. Okay.
How do you do that?
Right. I mean, I know where I come from, you know, at a DNA test, and it ain't from over here, so that wouldn't even apply to me. But I'm here now. You know what I mean? Yeah. As far as the world is concerned, I'm a black American. You know, African American to be exact, because my roots are in Africa. Nigeria to be exact. You know, so what you said doesn't really help me much. You know, so I'm trying to figure out in the larger scheme of things, what are we all supposed to do with that? And Lori says, I think he will be a great vice president if he does not make it to the primaries. Andrew Yang, I like Beto as well, but he dropped out. Well, who's going to be who's going to be a good president in your opinion?
Yeah.
And let's see. And Didi says, what are supposed to be the stipulations to so-called reparations? What do we have to do as black people to prove we deserve it or qualify for it?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing is free, especially to us. It comes with a cost. The prime example of this was during Hurricane Katrina. The government was giving them money to get on their feet, but blacks were buying jewelry and cars and rims, etc. Yeah, and you know...
Well,
go ahead, Don.
Let me answer this real quick. Okay. Reparations is a monetary... monetary righting of a wrong. There is no stipulation to why you should get it. If you are part of that group that was wronged, they can't put something on you and say, okay, to get it,
jump over these hoops of
fire.
Yeah,
you got to do this, you got to do that. If a wrong has been identified and legally adjudicated, that's it. Give me my money. Cut the check.
Right.
Simple as that. There is no But see, when it comes to black people, they want to put stipulation on it.
And you know why, though? Because we don't stick together.
Right.
You know, and I guess you could take something as recent as, you know, the what they did to Colin Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
If we would have just boycotted a week, things would have changed around, but we won't even do that. And so that's why they, you know, pussyfoot around, I hope I can say that, with our reparations, you know, or what they owe us, because, like I said, I just mentioned two groups of people, the foundational black Americans and the ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. They're fighting.
Right. I'll give you a recent history about how that kind of works, too. Remember our Native American brothers and sisters? They were treated like shit for years. I'm talking about alcoholism, you know, forced on this and suicides and just atrocious things. Civil rights movement happens. We join with them. And, they get what they need, and then they branch off to do their own thing because we're not tribal. You know, we're not part of their tribe. So they say, you can't have this, even though you jumped on our bandwagon to get what you can get, right? Now, what happened was, for years, Indians were just in disarray like us, fighting like everybody's the same when it comes to stuff like that. But what happened was, they said, you know what? All this bitching and moaning and hollering ain't getting us anywhere. So what they started doing was having younger people go to these colleges, getting law degrees. Then they started suing the federal government. And then when they sued the federal government are mostly on standing treaties that were signed by the government back in the 1800s when the government was stealing their land. They forgot about the document. Say, hey, we got this document that says this is ours. So move it 30, 40, 60 years forward where we're at right now. Why do you think when you look at some of these sports complexes, they have the Casino Morongo Stadium and all this other stuff like that?
There's like 3 or 4 or 5 casino. Now, I ain't talking about the hole in the wall casino.
Right, exactly. But what I'm saying is they legalized what they were doing and said, hey, we're going to put a foot to the fire. Now look at what's going on. That's their reparation. They said, you know what, you're going to give us reparations? We're going to get it ourselves. And that's what they did.
Right. So that's what I guess that's the point I'm trying to make, Cedric, is like, what is all that supposed to do for us? You know what I mean? And as far as, indeed, to your last point about buying the rims, that's something we just need to fix, And
not all of us are going to do that.
Right. That's true. All of us don't. Because that'd be the last thing I'm going to be buying.
Because if you think about it, some of the people Dee are describing, it's like people that strip club. Not all women are strippers. It's a small portion. Those people in Louisiana, what is the poverty line? It's the poverty line in Louisiana. I think that it said is the $8,000. Yeah, $8,000.
Income for people on the poverty
Mississippi's
line.
even worse.
So you're talking about people, no shade to them, but they're talking about people who aren't used to having much. So I don't know how much money they got, but if they got a lump sum of money, it's like, shit, I'm going to go get the stuff that I ain't been able to get.
Yeah, a lot of them got that. But see, isn't it funny how the media reports that part of it?
Right.
But they don't report the part
Miss Jenkins who probably
died
or went got a house or something.
And some of the people that did do what they were supposed to do with it, they only want to highlight the guy that went to the ATM and it's a strip club and he's over there kicking it with the money, and a lot of people did, and I'm saying this because I was born in Louisiana, I have relatives there. A lot of people did do the right thing with the money. Right.
And it said the House of Reawakening Mines National Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey.
Okay.
And I know who that is.
Yeah.
And Al says, as I told you so many times before here in the South, Black history and culture seems to begin with not important, but religion and being saved. Your comment is cut off, Al. I didn't see the rest of your comment. I think I read it wrong. He says, so they're not. So being saved and religion is being saved is more important.
Mm-hmm.
Al being from the South, he said they didn't really hear a lot in podcasts. We're coming back for the second half, so stay tuned. He says he doesn't recall being taught about Black history. Said his Black history win is
Martin Luther King.
Heard about Malcolm X, but it was Martin Luther King, and that was really kind of the extent of it, if you will. And he didn't have an idea of all that there was until he met a dope sister like me. I'm just playing. Anyway. Gia, I hope I said that right. He says, do you have an opinion on affordable housing, high rent districts that can ultimately end with tax incentive run out when the tax incentive run out? It seems developers get the tax incentives for a time period, which doesn't mean the same people is to help will necessarily be economically stable. Well, I think that there should be affordable housing. I know here in California, I'm not sure where you're from, they've actually had to change the laws in regards to real estate developers and people who are trying to get the tax incentives, if I understand that right. They have to change the laws and kind of put a moratorium on what they're doing because they're buying up all this land and property and stuff to where there's not enough affordable housing. Let's just face it and be honest. There's people in our society, in our communities, that's going to need affordable housing. Not everyone can afford